Welcome back to Amazing Websites Television, the show where intelligent people like you come find the tools to change the rules. Welcome back to the show. Today I am in Amsterdam, and as you can see, it is just absolutely beautiful day. And today we're going to have a very special show because we are having Rick Schefren. Rich is the CEO of Strategic Profirts, one of the most sought of experts in the world in the topic of marketing. He's basically the guru of gurus. He's the guy that has accelerated knowledge and accelerated the way that business is done on the internet in many ways for the past few years, so you definitely don't want to miss this interview. So let's just get started with the beginning of the show, which is going to be the first section, handy bookmarks. Welcome back to Handy Bookmarks. Today I have 5 amazing tools, but before I share the tools that I have for you today, I want to remind you that this show, it's a very special show. We are having Rick Schefren and also James Schramko, so make sure that not only watch the 5 resources that I will be sharing with you today, but also watch the entire interview. It's about a 12-minute interview with Rick Schefren, which is just absolutely amazing. And also James Schramko is going to be sharing with you the secret of the Mexican turtles, and you're going to really like it. So let's get started with the first resource, which is going to be tiltshiftmaker.com. and Tilt Shift Maker, it's a great resource to alter the perspective of the pictures that you already have, although you possibly will have in the future. And this is very cool because you can make them look like if they will be miniatures, or you can diffuse them, or there's a number of different tricks that you can do with your pictures. Very nice and very useful. The second tool that I want to share with you is called Sleet.es. Actually, it reads slides, but it is written Sleet.es. And it is great. It's a fantastic tool for creating presentations that you're going to be using online. So instead of actually creating PowerPoint presentations using Sleet.es, you will be able to create beautiful and stunning sales or any kind of presentations on the internet. You're going to really love it. The third resource that I want to share with you today is called Sparkle. And Sparkle is SPARKOL.com. And on this resource, you will find a way how to create animated videos by a script. This is very cool and very useful. For example, you have seen those videos that there's the little hand creating these little nice videos, right? Well, imagine that you will be able to create those videos for your marketing. But guess what? You can actually direct the shots because the hand will be changing according to what you are saying. Very cool. The next resource that I want to share with you is called Drop It To Me, and it's really very cool. This is a tool where you will be able to create links so that people will be able to share stuff with you, like large files or large videos or large folders or whatever you have. You will be able to get people to share them with you. Normally, it is a little bit tricky when you are using Dropbox. However, with this tool that you added to Dropbox, you will be able to create links so that people can share stuff with you. It doesn't matter the size, and you are in control, and they end up in your Dropbox. Very interesting. And the very last tool that I want to share with you is called Visita. And Visita, it's a really cool tool to create appointments with your customers or with your prospects or whatever you want on your website. Very professional. It is for free, and it's very useful. So those are the 5 handy bookmarks that I want to share with you. And now it's time that we go to the secret of the Mexican turtles with James Schramko. And remember, make sure to watch the interview with Rick Schefren and the Strategic Entrepreneur. You're gonna really like it.
James Schramko here, and I'm at Santa Barbara, poolside. I've just come from Mexico, and one of the things that I've reflected about on the plane was the turtles. They protect their turtles down there. They find the eggs, they bury them, they pull them out, and then when they hatch the little turtles, they release them. I like the care that they had. They even wore a mask. They made sure that the areas were roped off. And it made me feel that that's how I like to treat my customers. But I don't see that happening out in the marketplace a lot. A lot of marketers are treating their customers as if those customers are like baby seals and they're clubbing them over the head. That's not how to market. Go for the long haul. Treat your customers like baby turtles and really shepherd them. Out in the wild, only about 1 in 100 will actually survive. But if you can protect and nurture your customers, you're going to have a fantastic, long-term, large turtle as your customer forever. And they last a long time. They have a very, very long lifespan. So nurture, protect, look after. If you're looking for someone who will nurture, protect, and look after you with your internet business, I'd love to see you inside fastwebformula.com, where there's around 800 people in there, and we look after each other. It's a great environment. So I hope to see you in Fast Web Formula. I'm James Schramko.
So welcome back to our special guest section of the show. I am very, very happy. I am right now here in Amsterdam, and I am with a living legend of marketing, and his name is Rich Schefren. He is the CEO and owner of Strategic Profirts. If you have never heard of Strategic Profirts, I think you better check it out, because I can tell you it's going to change your business in many ways, and I think you are going to really enjoy what we're going to be talking with Rich. So Rich, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And
it's an absolute pleasure to have you, first of all, here in Amsterdam. What have you thought of Amsterdam so far?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun. I spoke a couple of days ago, and the audience was a great audience. Lots of business people, like, really determined to grow their business and taking the steps to do that. So it was fun to be in that kind of energy.
Fantastic. Let me just go straight into some of the questions. And okay. I mean, I love the name of your company, Strategic Profirts. But now, see, most of my audience is basically on the Middle East, and one of the big problems that I find in the Middle East is that they're not strategic at all.
Okay.
So, can you break it down in simple terms? What's strategy? What's strategic?
Sure. Okay. So, part of the equation is that a lot of people kind of distinguish between strategy versus tactics, right? And that's not the best distinction that there can be, because tactics are really what support a strategy. So really, if you're going to compare being strategic to something else, it would be being strategic versus being opportunistic. In other words, when you're strategic, you have a long-term game plan that you're trying to get to. You have a vision, you have an outcome that you're trying to do, and now it's about what are the least number of steps, what are the least amount of resources that I can use to get that outcome. Whereas when you're opportunistic, any opportunity to make money has potential to be something that you might do, and the challenge is that while there might be an opportunity there, it might not be the opportunity that actually takes you to the end goal that you really want. So you can be strategic and seize certain opportunities, but those opportunities have to be the ones that help you get to that outcome. Whereas when you're just opportunistic, you're just kind of looking around and, oh, that looks like a good idea, that looks like a good idea, that looks like a good idea, and your criteria is, can I make money with it, right? So what ends up happening is that the company that's strategic gets further faster because they're only taking those opportunities that get them to their outcome, whereas someone who's being opportunistic generally bounces around from one thing to another and really never gets that breakthrough to get their business to a point where it can actually be stronger, more powerful, and can really gain the momentum that they need. So at the end of the day, it's really about what is essential versus what's not essential to make my business exactly the way I want it versus what can I do today. Right, exactly. And that's the difference.
Yeah, that sounds very similar to what is happening right now there in Dubai and other places in the Middle East. What happens is that there's a lot of opportunity seekers, right. Exactly, yeah. as you're saying. So how would you define the difference between an opportunity seeker and a strategic entrepreneur?
Well, the strategic entrepreneur knows exactly what the business is that they're trying to create. And that might change over time because based on feedback from the market, but there's consistently moving towards turning that vision into a reality. And because of that, it can kind of cascade down so that you know, like, this is essential, this is non-essential. And they've made certain decisions that of what they're going to do, what they're not going to do. You know, so a very famous author about strategy once said, until you know what customers you're never going to serve, until you know what products you're never going to create, until you know all the things that you're not going to do, you don't really have a strategy. Because a strategy really at the end of the day is making tough decisions about what's the best use of my resources, right? There's no thought process like that going on with an opportunity seeker, right? What's the best use of my resources? It's just, well, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good, and then they get spread out, scattered too thin, and they don't make progress.
Exactly. You're considered the guru of gurus in the internet, and you have changed the business of thousands of people. What would be your advice for somebody which is actually just getting started with their own online business?
Sure. So, well, the first thing that people have to realize is that the internet's kind of changed some of the rules of the game of business. So the first big change that the internet has caused is a shift from proximity to relevancy. So consumers used to decide who to buy from based on how close people were to them, right, to a large extent, because they really didn't have any other options. What the internet does, because it brings a worldwide source to your doorstep, so to speak, now people make the choice of who's most relevant to me, not who's closest to me. So you have to target a market. You have to know who you're going after, and then once you know who you're going after, specifically what group, then how can you be more relevant to them than anyone else? A better solution, your marketing speaks to them, and so on. So the very first thing to understand about the online environment is that it's different than the offline environment. And it's different in the sense that you get to put your best foot forward to a global audience, something that even the biggest companies in the world couldn't do 20 years ago. But with that also comes competition from all over the world. And so the only way that you really can stand out and build a business is to figure out that group that you're going after. The good news is that group can be spread out all throughout the world, but some group that you're the best choice for. And if you do that, so many of the other steps of growing your business becomes so much easier because you're already talking to a group where you are the most relevant to, you are the best solution for. And so it's those beginning steps, those decisions that have huge impact later on. And you can shift over time, but it's who do you serve and why are you the best choice for them?
Exactly. Right now, you have been you have focused a lot, of course, in the small business owners, but also, these kind of principles also apply to the bigger businesses. And one of the things that I keep on seeing is that right now at this point, the bigger businesses are the ones which are struggling. So what would be your advice for a struggling business? It does. Somebody which is treading water on the online environment, doesn't matter the size.
Okay. Well, what I would say is that it really depends on what's being offered. But obviously, whatever you're selling, whether it's a product, a service, what have you, you should have a reason why people should be buying it from you, right? And in marketing speak, we call that the USP. And so you have this USP, you have this reason why people should be buying your product. The marketing, which is using social media, search engines, pay-per-click, Facebook, whatever, right? YouTube. Your goal in all of those things should be to help reinforce a single thought, a belief, a concept that supports that USP. So, in other words, if you have the widest selection of whatever, right, then all your marketing should point to why having a wider selection is so vital. And that it should be the convincing point that when someone gets through some of your marketing, they're like, I must buy from a place that has the widest selection. And then when they come to your place that has the widest selection, it works. If you have the narrowest selection, because you've taking it down to the few that are the best of whatever it is you sell, then your marketing would be all about how you want someone else to whittle it down so that the choice you make is an easy choice to make, and from only a few. So your marketing really is there to serve the business by reinforcing certain beliefs, certain ideas that if the prospect latches onto, or the marketplace latches onto, they see the need for your product. And most of the people I see out there that are doing marketing online don't really get that. And because of that, they're different messages all over the place. And the problem with that is that prospects, people online in general, are scattered. And so you can't hit them with a different message each day and expect that they're going to remember all those messages. So you have to have this one core idea that really supports why people should buy your USP, and then that needs to be spread out through all of your marketing channels, whether it's social media or not. And once that's done, then you can really start building on it, and you can take it much further. But that's really the essence of the beginning of the marketing process. And I know it's it's a little off topic from what the question was, but I think that the next evolution, once you have that kind of in place, is to really look at two numbers in your business, and those two numbers are the cost to acquire a customer and the lifetime value of a customer, because those are the two numbers that really will dictate your success. The lower the cost to acquire, the better. The more that you make per customer, the better. And ultimately, the way most markets shake out over time is that the company that has the highest lifetime value per customer wins, because they can spend the most to acquire, right? So those two numbers really are kind of like blood pressure and cholesterol, like for the human body. They don't tell you that you're going to die today, but they tell you what track you're on, right? So it's like if your cost per acquisition is going down and your lifetime value is going up, then you've got a healthy business. If it's going the other way, then it's like you're getting a high cholesterol and a high blood pressure, and there's going to be a problem down the road.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic, great. Well, one of the things that I definitely recommend you guys to do is go to strategicprofirts.com, and there you should download Rich's reports. You have right now about 5 of them?
I think 7 is total.
7 of them?
Yeah, a new one coming out in a few months, actually, first one in years.
Fantastic. I mean, can you just tell us about a couple of your reports? Because I think they're just some of the most incredible pieces of marketing and information that I have ever read. So I definitely recommend you to go and download them. They're free. And just possibly you can tell us about a couple of them.
Sure, yeah. I've written reports. Basically, my whole company was built on reports. And the very first report I wrote was the Internet Business Manifesto. And that really pointed to what, one of the things you were asking me about earlier about the difference between opportunity seekers and strategic entrepreneurs. And when I wrote that, I was writing it to most internet marketers saying, you guys are really opportunity seekers, and this is why you're struggling, and kind of laid out the case as to why. The report after that was the missing chapter, which came out like a couple weeks after, because I realized that I had missed a piece in the manifesto that I took for granted, that you should build your business around a core strength that you have, a passion that you have, and that I found that most people were actually in the wrong market based on the questions I was getting from the Internet Business Manifesto. Exactly. So I hurried that up. The third report was the final chapter, and that's where I took some of the secrets from a client of mine, a company by the name of Agora Publishing, that I was involved with and helped grow from 100 million to 600 million, and how they did direct response marketing, which was different than most of the markets. So it was like, here's a company that gets it right, here's how they do it, learn from that. After that series was done, then I wrote a series about attention. So I wrote the Attention Age Doctrine 1 and 2. And 1 was all about how do you get the most benefit out of your own attention. And number 2 was all about how do you get the attention of others and turn that into sales. So both of them were based on the concept that attention is quickly becoming the scarcest commodity online. You want to get the most from your own attention, and you want to get the most of your prospects and clients' attention. So how do you do that? So those were those 2 reports. And then I wrote the Maven Manifesto with Jay Abraham, and that was all about how to be at the top of the market, how to be an authority, not only be an expert, but how do you market that expertise so that you're recognized as an expert. And then the last one I wrote was the Entrepreneurial Emergency, which was also called the Uncertainty Syndrome. And this was all about how, as the range of options have increased online, people became more and more overwhelmed and more uncertain about which path to take. And, knowing as a small business, I can't do everything. And I'm only going to be able to do a few things, but if I'm only going to be able to do a few things, which ones should I really do? Because it seems like if I choose wrong, I'm screwed, right out of the gate, exactly. Right? So this was all about what really drives success and what do you need to be most focused on to grow your business, and that was about really understanding what's constraining you right now and eliminating that. So that was the entrepreneurial emergency, and that was really the last report I wrote, and that was back in 2008. And so 5 years later now, I'll probably be writing, well, not probably, I'm definitely writing a new report about what now is the next evolution.
Wow, fantastic. Well, we hope to see you soon in the Middle East, in Dubai specifically, Bahrain, Kuwait, possibly even India. So it will be interesting to have you there. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
You.
And well, now thank you very much for being with us. And now it's time that we go to the next section of the show, which is going to be One App a Day Keeps Boredom Away. Bye bye.
Thank goodness for the teacher, and nothing can go wrong. Act fortunate to be here, then doodle on the wall of a stall. You've been pulling your boat apart for long enough. I've been cooking in your pot for far too long. You've been pulling your boat apart for long enough. I've been cooking in your pot for far too long.
So I hope that you have enjoyed the show. Make sure to download my book at amazinglyuseful.com, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.